Football is a violent game played by gladiators on a frozen tundra. Welcome to the Red Zone Challenge Expert Picks, brought to you by Firestone Walker Brewing Company, featuring so-called experts Jeff Kingman.
For the second week in a row, you're asking the question, should I really watch this Thursday night game?
Jeremy West.
I have never picked against the Seahawks. You did once and it bit you in the ass.
And Allie, the full-time Firestone Walker beer guy. Part-time degenerate gambler.
This is one of those ones I'm like, do I really need to watch football on Thursday night, or should I stay good on my wife's list here?
Who will experience 80 ounces in hell? Find out with this week's picks in the Red Zone Challenge, presented by Firestone Walker Brewing Company in Paso Robles. Oh, man! Give me a drink!
I read a story this morning, guys, that a lot of men have to negotiate their football watching time with their wives. Some choose Saturday and college football. Some choose Sunday, but they don't get both because they have kids. That's why I don't have kids. But let me ask the two dads in the room, do you have to negotiate time with your wives to watch football?
100% yes.
Yeah, it's the same.
100%.
I have to pick my poison, and I usually opt for, because there's so much at stake in the Red Zone Challenge, I opt for Sunday. I don't really care about college.
Well, it's fantasy football. Yeah. It's the Red Zone Challenge. It's
just so much going on. Even though,
and watching our team, our beloved Washington State Cougars, it's just a nightmare of antacid pills and booze.
The thing is, though, the brand of football might be better at the collegiate level this year.
I think you're right. I think you're right on that.
It's not good on the NFL level. It isn't.
Would you like to hear the recap brought to you by Jeff Kingman's Fails? Still trailing this week, 22-33. Ollie right behind him at 27-28. You're almost at 500, Ollie. And
I'm going to hit it.
I'm not talking smack, because as soon as I do, karma will bite me in the ass. Somehow I'm 32-23. Really 4-1 last week. Jeff went 3-2. Ollie went 4-1 as well.
I want to say your last 4 weeks, you have not done worse than 4 wins.
It's crazy.
Looking back at the stats, which is why you've opened up this lead and a can of whoop ass on us.
And what do you call it? The torture chamber of beer. The
80 ounces in hell.
80 ounces in hell. Oh yes, can't wait for that. By the way, thank you for the Dark and Stormy. Took it to Thanksgiving. I know Jeff shared it with friends. We drank it here. So good.
I got a great story.
Nice.
I got a great story. Are you guys sold out?
We are not sold out.
What?
We still have beer available. I know. I was disappointed, too. Actually, I was happy because I didn't buy any because I was on a boat. So now I can get some myself.
It's so funny.
Go ahead.
I do another podcast. It's called the Two Drunk Dads podcast with another guy. And
I like that.
Our guest, you should.
But they're never drunk.
You should be a guest. You should be a guest sometime. That's not true. There have been a couple times.
Okay.
We're just very good at hiding it. That's it. You should be a guest sometime on the program. Anyways, we had Brian Appiano from the Rib Line in, and he's doing a Firestone beer makers dinner or something, beer pairing dinner at his location. And I took a little bit of, I took a bottle of it to those guys, and we enjoyed it on the pre-Thanksgiving episode of Two Drunk Dads. And he was like, "Oh, cool! I'm going to see if my distributor can get me some of these to bring to the beer makers dinner." And he texted the guy. I didn't ask him who the guy was because I didn't want to intrude. But he texted the guy. He said, "Yeah, I can only get you 1 or 2 bottles because it's super limited." And I felt, I got to be honest with you, Ollie, I felt kind of special at that moment.
Oh, good.
Look at that. Because you hooked us up, man.
Each with 3, yeah.
It's the best beer I've ever had.
Well, that's awesome. I'm glad you guys liked it.
That was a touching moment. Now can we come back to reality where Jeff is trying to come out of a hole?
By the way, if anybody puts that in my beer bong, I'm going to be...
Flipped?
Yes, I will be.
All right, here we go. Dallas tomorrow. Or, tomorrow, Thursday Night Football. Favored by 1 point. I don't know why, over the Redskins, but they are at home. I guess I'm going first because I'm 4-1, and I'm going to keep it quick today. I don't have a lot to say except for I have no freaking clue what Vegas is thinking, except for that they're at home, but I still like the Redskins by a touchdown in this one. Ollie.
Same with you. I like the Redskins, better team. I think Dallas is thinking they're really desperate to win a game here, but I don't think Garrison can right that ship right now. So I'm also taking the better team, which is the Redskins.
Do you guys remember what happened? I don't know. Several weeks ago when these two teams met in Washington, we all picked the Redskins,
and they lost.
But
they had Ezekiel Elliott, though.
That's true.
Things were different.
If you look at the record when they play each other, Dallas has definitely got a lead on them as far as head-to-head. But I think this is a little different going into this game. But feel free to take Dallas.
No, I'm going to take the Washington Redskins. I'm not going to try to all get it back at once.
You sure you don't want to go deeper in that hole? All right. It's coming out of the rabbit hole, kids. Next up, Denver. Boy, these are some solid games, aren't they?
Oh, God.
The next couple.
Garbage.
Denver, a 1-point road favorite over Miami. Holy cow. Okay, so Denver, it sucks, and they're going to Miami, who sucks.
Mm-hmm.
And
equally suck. They both.
And Miami's really hurting right now because they might not have a quarterback, right?
Well, they have Matt Moore. I mean, they have a quarterback.
Well, yes, they'll have a quarterback.
But I mean, it's 6-1, half a dozen the other. Matt Moore, Jake.
He actually might be better than Cuddy.
Sometimes, yes. Sometimes no.
God, I'm going to go with Denver. It's a coin flip for me, Ollie.
This was the hardest game you guys, put at me here, so I'm also going to take Denver. You got one team that is pretty much just given up on the season, and you got another team that's in complete disarray. I believe they're bringing Simeon back for this game, but there is no Talib. But, God, Miami is bad. They are so bad. They're terrible. They're probably one of the worst teams in the NFL.
No, Jeff's going to tell us why he's going to take them. He loves Miami. He's a Miami homer.
I am.
Like a closet fan, though.
They're my second favorite team. I don't know why.
Dan Marino. You've always loved Dan Marino. You used to have his jersey.
Connection. The Finns win this one. The reason why is because the Matt Moore to Kenny Stills connection. These two have some kind of love affair. I don't know what it is. Kenny Stills typically the third receiver on the Miami Dolphins, but when Matt Moore is under center, my gosh. And Aqib Talib would have been probably lining up opposite Kenny Stills. So I think a home game for Miami, and I think Denver just needs more. I think the team has given up on the scheme, if you know what I mean, and they want to see something new happen there from a coaching standpoint. So I think Denver could give a rat's ass whether they win or lose. And I think Miami still might buy into the program a little bit because as Adam Gase has proven that he doesn't care who you are. He'll trade you away if he doesn't like you.
Who was the coach that was doing the coke before he would go into the meeting?
That was the offensive line coach.
But
it's Miami.
Okay.
You live in Miami, win in Rome.
I know.
I mean, that stuff's like Gatorade.
I just wanted to remember, what you were saying and remember who that was.
Miami.
I'm glad we're all on the same page there. This one was another one that's a toss-up for me. I don't know. I mean, we're going to Atlanta. Minnesota taking on the Falcons in Atlanta. Atlanta's favored by 3 points. But I still can't get away from that Viking offense, that power that is. So I like Minnesota in this one, Ollie.
I'm going to give Jeff a chance here. I'm going to take Atlanta. Atlanta's hot right now, and I think they're the team to watch out for going into the playoffs. I think they realize they got to win this game. Your Seahawks got to lose versus Philadelphia so they can seal up that wild card spot. So I like what Atlanta's doing right now. They're finally putting it all together. Don't get me wrong, Minnesota is really, really good, but let's take Atlanta at home and a good big win for them.
I actually was going to take Atlanta in this one too, but I will. I have opened the door for me, and I will go with Minnesota, just because I think it could go either way.
Yeah.
And I think the defense for Minnesota is obviously a lot better than the defense that Atlanta brings to the field. So, but it's at home. This one could go either way, but I'm going to go Minnesota just because I need to make up games.
All right, Baltimore, a 3-point home favorite over Detroit. Is anybody going to go with the Lions on this one? I like Baltimore.
I'm taking the Lions. I'll take the Lions. They're the better team. I think Flacco's back. Oh, he's done. I think that guy looks terrible.
God, he's horrible.
He is terrible.
I'm making the playoffs in fantasy, and I looked at his schedule, and I need a backup just in case anything happens to Carson Wentz in the championship weeks. And he's playing Indianapolis and Cleveland the final 2 weeks in the playoffs of our fantasy league. And I'm like, so I pick up Flacco. I'm thinking, okay, I know it's Flacco, but I need a quarterback that's going to have a soft schedule. Then he cranked out that performance on Monday night, and I dropped him immediately. I don't have faith in him from a fantasy standpoint against Cleveland and Indianapolis. I'm not going to have him any faith in him going against Detroit, even though they are at home. I think Detroit is the better team. You're right on this one, Ollie. So to answer your question, Jeremy, yes, 2 of the panel goes with the Detroit Lions.
All right. And finally, I love this matchup. San Francisco, a 3-point underdog, traveling to the Windy City to take on the Chicago Bears. And I'm all about Jimmy G! Jimmy G! I like the San Francisco 49ers in this one with the upset.
You and I both, man. This was the game I thought you guys would be taking Chicago here, but I think Jimmy G is the difference here. I was actually going to bet pretty heavy on this game. I think Garoppolo is the quarterback for the future over there, and I actually like in fantasy, too. I like all the receivers on that team. Well, not all the receivers. I like 1 or 2 of the main guys on San Francisco, so I think the 49ers are going to go in there, and everybody's going to be very excited for their second win of the season.
While you guys are over here crooning over the offense that is the San Francisco 49ers, one that is scored a garbage time touchdown against the Seattle Seahawks. I'm going to remind you that they have the worst defense when it comes to stopping the run, and Jordan Howard's one of the most. With Tariq Cohen and Jordan Howard, it's going to be impossible for the San Francisco 49ers defense to stop the run game of the Chicago Bears. And the Bears have a good defense, actually probably a better defense than the Seattle Seahawks right now. So to me, this one's obvious. I can't believe you guys are going this way. Thank you for going that way. But Chicago at home against the Whiners? Yes, any day of the week.
All right, there they are. Don't forget, you can always catch this podcast, iTunes. You can subscribe to the Jeff and Jeremy After the Show podcast on YouTube, and you can get it at kzoz.com. So the holidays, the Dark and Stormy, what's up next for you guys, Ollie?
You know what's coming out, and it's not out yet, but it's coming out in a few weeks here. In our Leo Viersa series, we're going to release Wookiss. And Wookiss, if you guys like Wookie Jack, Wookiss is a more intense, hoppier version of Wookie Jack, and it's going to be released. It's going to be the last one of the Leo Viersa series for the year. Don't worry, we'll be continuing the Leo Viersa series into next year. But I'm very excited. I really miss Wookie. It was one of my favorite beers.
What does Wookie mean, by the way? Where does that come from?
You know, actually, the whole story behind Wookie, if you ever go to a fish show and you see all the hippies with the long beards and the hair, you know, they call them Wookiees. They call all these, like, essentially they almost look like transients at the fish shows. They would call them Wookiees. And then there's also a bar in London that's called the Wookie Hole. And so it has mixed meanings, but the owners, one of the owners obviously is British, David Walker, and so we have a lot of British themes here. And then we all, you know, we're fans of music, and so it kind of was a mixed bag on who you talk to, but it's pretty funny. That's why it got its name. So that's why it was called Wookie. And then this one is Wookiss, which is more of I guess it's a Latin version of Wookie, but it's a great beer, and it's coming down the line. So
you're telling me that Dark and Stormy, if I want to buy as a Christmas gift, if I show up today at the tasting room, I can buy?
Yes, you can. Actually, the Brewing Emporium.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, over at the Emporium.
Across the street, right?
Yes.
Yes.
And that's the only place I could buy it, right?
That is it. Actually, I think it is selling in our visitor center down here also, so you can get it at one of those two places.
Okay, good to know.
Very nice.
Because that's a great Christmas gift. We had people calling. I'm surprised because we actually had a lot of people calling the radio station asking what time you guys opened up, and I actually had to call because you didn't have the answers. I had to call the Emporium and ask them, and they said, "Oh yeah, we're opening up at 10." There's not going to be any early openings for Black Friday at Firestone. And I conveyed it to the people. But if you got your hands on it, lucky, and I guess you could still be lucky.
How many beers have you drank already today, Ollie?
Me? None yet.
Really?
None. Nothing yet.
How many will you drink on an average day at work?
We don't. I wouldn't say we count it by beers. We do tastings twice a day.
Twice a day.
Twice a day.
I like that. Tastings. That's
Because it leaves it open. If you
it's
like
not drinking, it's tasting.
If you really like it, you take another taste. If you don't, you pass.
There's a lot of science behind it. So, all right.
Good luck to you, buddy. All right.
Thank you.
Till next week. There goes Ollie. Firestone Walker, the official sponsor of the Red Zone Challenge. Win a trip to Las Vegas. Couple of nights at the MGM Grand. We're going to put you up $500 cash. Round trip airfare out of Santa Maria on a Legionnaire and tickets to see the Jabbawockeez.